What's up, y'all? It's Josh from Time Machine Creative. Figure I'd start doing some videos and posting those up. The reason I haven't is just felt like didn't really have much to offer, but at this stage, I'm just decided to just start documenting some of my learning processes. So I've actively decided to get to give myself more training through YouTube and otherwise for character drawing. And you can see on the screen there, the first part of that lesson was a male face, and I think right now we're getting into female faces. So I'm just going to kind of document that process as I go through it, and hope you like it. Hope you find it's helpful, and as I learn, maybe you can learn too. But otherwise, just you can just watch me draw and stuff. So here we go. So what they tell us to do is to start off with a circle. So using these programs, you'll find that you're going to hit the restart button a lot, the undo button a lot. You can draw a circle, split it in half, double that. So I guess we're going to chop these off a little bit to get this roundness. So this kind of comes out like this. So I guess we're going to go for females, we're going to go a little bit lower. So the program I use is called Krita. It's a free program. I think it's very comprehensive in the things that I do, especially in learning. I plan on educating myself on Photoshop. That's what professionals use in this field. And so I've been learning a lot with it. And plan on going more. So this might not be a great video because I have to pay attention to what this guy's saying on my iPad. And so maybe I'll redo something with an actual project that I'm working on. This really isn't a great how-to video, but this is a bad circle. So this is where the chin goes. I'm going to drop this down a little bit. Trying to think female again. Actually, one of the critiques that my girlfriend gave me early on in my art journey is that I'm not so good at drawing women. Competitive person that I am, I decided to dedicate a lot of my drawing to drawing women. And if you look at my Instagram, it's a lot of women empowerment and a lot of female themes. And I think that's important in this day and age. I really do believe in the existence of patriarchy and how that's detrimental to our society and our children and our state of being. So even in Mexican culture, that's and otherwise other cultures in this world, it's valued a little bit more to be a man. So I think it's a good way to be an ally in that movement, in that movement. Particularly, I like to focus on women of color. Not to say that I find other women any less or more attractive or valuable. It's just what I notice in the media that women of color specifically don't get as much attention or as much opportunity to prove themselves. And a lot of people say, well, it's a lot more now than it was, but it's still not where it should be. Especially when you're talking wage gap and stuff like that. So I'm glad I actively started off in doing that, because I think you start finding your biases when you take that active role, because you don't really know your biases until you take a look to take the opposite side, right? So these are some guidelines that are showing proportions and relations to the face. You can kind of see these lips going on here. And this guy's talking in my ear the same way I'm talking, so this is really bad. But I can in my next video I could start talking more about why I chose these things as far as character design. Hopefully this is starting to look like a woman a little bit. As far as my art journey goes, I always, since I was young, 4 or 5 years old, I gravitated towards creative activities and art, drawing specifically. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this for a sec because he's kind of faster than me. Drawing activities and stuff like that. Actually, I'm gonna keep it going. And I became an engineer. They said, you're good at math and science and you like to draw, so this might be a good field. Well, as good as the field has been to me in my professional career, I honestly didn't even get into an engineering role, and that might be a discussion for later, but I took a role of a sales engineer. So it's a sales engineer. It's actually exactly what it sounds like. It's a lot more interpersonal. It's a lot more. What you're doing is you're selling a technical solution rather than a physical product door to door. So really, you're selling an idea and how that works and how it is implemented in an engineering way, an engineered solution. So I don't actually do any calculations or otherwise design work. When you say design in an engineering sense, it's really calculation, not like a design that you're talking like car design or like this character design. It's a very different kind of design. Guess we're doing these little tear ducts. So, that being said, as much as I like my job and that I don't have to do all those tedious calculations, which I realized I didn't like in college, it's still very much not like creative in the way that I like to be. So I really delved into my art practice in realizing that, and the more I get into it, the more I want to learn, the more I want to get more into it. So now I'm exploring the idea of changing careers or building these skills online without getting into more school debt to hopefully be able to do something that utilizes my creative side and my artistic side a little bit better. And even if I have to take a pay cut or something like that, hopefully by that time I'll have taken care of my finances in a way where I can afford to take a pay cut. No kids. No kids or anything like that, so kind of in a very privileged position to be able to do something like this, or even consider the idea of it. I know that a lot of people are not, but maybe there are ways. Maybe this can be an inspiration to some of those people who want to switch that up. So I drew the eyes a little high, and the instructor actually did the same thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop them down. These are little tools that I've gotten used to using in this program. But again, just like anything, it takes a lot of practice. A couple of projects that I want to get into as far as character design, and the first thing that's coming up in my mind is this little comic book series that I'm starting called Playground Police or Playground Police Department. I have PGPD. I haven't really decided on what exactly it's going to be called, but it's based on something I did as a young kid, 5th grade. Wrote a little book in school as an assignment, but also um, it was like a little competition. So who can write the best book or whatever, and I think I got second place one year, but that year I don't think I placed. Anyway, visiting home recently, I found that book, and I had been trying to flex or build my storytelling skills up, and I was found this, and I was like, wow, this is actually not a bad base for a children's story. So I decided to just take that story and use it as a base to create a little comic book story. Still learning a lot in that, but still a lot to learn in that. But I got the first part out, and I developed those two characters, or designed those two characters. They were originally based on my two younger brothers, Chris and Charlie, who are twins, and I gave them telepathic abilities, as a lot of, as you kind of get a lot in these fictional stories with twins, but decided with my whole female empowerment kind of deal going on in my art, I decided to go ahead and switch those to girl characters, and basically name them after my brother's respective daughters. So they're cousins in real life, but in this story, they are they're twin sisters. So have all the same. Pretty much kept the story exactly the same. And I consulted with my girlfriend, like, would do I have to treat these characters a lot differently because they're girls? And she pretty much said, not really. I mean, girls are the same as boys, especially at that age. I'm sure that's not really the case, but I started writing it out, and it really wasn't much of a change as far as how I would go about their dialogue or their behaviors. I mean, they're supposed to be like kick-ass girls, and so yeah, I'll talk more about those when I get into that video. But I'm also reading a book called Children of the Blood and Bone, which is a story by a black author about black characters. And it's about magic and adventure, and so that's another project I want to do. I want to do a character design for the characters in that book. So this is why I'm learning this, building up these skills in illustration and comic book style drawing. So I'm learning. And I'm kind of just drawing, I'm putting in features that I kind of wanted that character to have. So this is like practice almost for that, obviously, but also learning for that. So one thing you'll learn if you're learning is that you're gonna keep your hand on that Control Z button, because you're not gonna get them right every time, and hopefully as you go, you maybe have to hit them less as you get better. Plus, I'm using a Wacom Intuos pad, which means I'm drawn on my desktop, and then it's showing up on the screen. So that's more or less the face I worked on today. I'm gonna work on some other stuff too, but hopefully this wasn't too boring, and hopefully you tune into. Hopefully I get better at this video thing too. So like, subscribe, check out my Instagram for art that I might not be video recording, and in the meantime, have a great day. Thanks.